Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Careers You Did Not Know About podcast. I am the host, Dave Kuzminski, and we will be discussing the future of the water and wastewater industry and the people that run it. And today's guest, this is our episode number 3, and we just launched this episode 2 weeks ago, and we're very excited about it. And our guest for our third episode is Mr. Bill Sullivan, who is a supervising engineer from the Department of Public Health Water Supply section. And welcome, Bill. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing fine. There's sun shining outside. It's a little chilly, but, spring is coming, so they say.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. I'm glad to be on with you today. Thank you very much for the invite.
Well, thanks again. And again, Bill, this is the whole premise of the Careers in the Water Industry podcast, I think, is going to cover a wide spectrum of, what it takes to run a water and wastewater system, and who would be a man better than you to describe what it takes to get into this business. So tell us a little bit about your day job.
All right, great. So I'm a supervising sanitary engineer with the Environmental Health Drinking Water Branch. Right? My primary responsibility is the certification of water system operators. I also deal with backflow prevention, cross-connection control, compliance. We'll get into that as the discussion goes on. But making sure that the folks that operate, the individuals who operate our public water systems, our community and non-transient, non-community public water systems, are at the highest level. So it's an interesting job. It's important work. Validating or verifying the competency of individuals as they go out there and perform this work, right, is necessary because it all links itself back to improving public health and compliance with the drinking water quality monitoring and reporting regulations as well as standards. So, that's pretty much my day job. Pretty important work, and I'm glad to be involved with it.
Well, as you know, as I know, and again, the important work that we all do, we've been in the business a while, and there is a looming, what we call the Grey Tsunami, which is kind of invading our industry as well as a lot of other industries. And I think it basically, boils down to there's going to be a lot of people retiring, and there's going to be a lot of need for certified operators and people to get involved in the water and wastewater industry. So, talk a little bit about that if you can, and, we can go from there.
Well, water operators are just like hairdressers and doctors and lawyers and every other profession. They're increasing in age, right? This workforce, right? It's getting older, and so in my position, we understand we collect the birth dates of individuals, right? And so we performed an analysis back in 2008, and we performed another one just recently. Without looking at individuals' names or anything like that, but just looking at essentially a data sheet with birth dates on them, right? Mm-hmm. And it validates that very thing, that the age of operators is getting older, right? And we've seen a transformation over the last, say 12 plus years. Is more operators are being assigned to more systems. So back in 2008, we had 720 operators were assigned to our classified water system facilities, and these classified water system facilities are parts of a bigger public water system. They're the treatment plant and the distribution system. Mm-hmm. And so we had 720 assigned to those systems across the state, right? And just recently, end of 2021 assessment found that there were 445.
Wow.
So that's a difference of 275 assignment changes and reductions, right? And so it means that more operators are being charged with greater responsibilities these days, right? And so that's a big change. And we're also finding that the age of operators as I said before, is getting older, right? And so we're finding more operators working beyond age 65, the normal retirement age. Well, that's not normal anymore, right?
Right.
Folks are working into their 70s.
I can
We
attest
even
to
have
that.
a couple operators in their 80s, right? Okay,
Yes.
so while there can be a potential impact upon their retirement on operations. So if an operator decides tomorrow, I'm going to retire, right?
Yep.
Well, that's one less person out there collecting samples, or that's one less person out there performing meter readings, and that's one less person in operational responsibility of a public water system, right?
Sure.
Which could have an impact upon compliance, could
Yeah.
have an impact upon the maintenance of that water system, the operation and maintenance of that water system. And so we're concerned about that.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure that there's avenues available for individuals, young individuals, to get into the industry. And that's what you and I have been part of for a great number of years now.
Yes.
With the Water and People program down there in Portland and other places,
Yep.
and other things like that, to try to get folks involved, young persons involved in this great industry, the water utility operation and maintenance.
Mm-hmm. Going back to that, Bill, what and you've alluded to some of that in when you came and talked to my classes and so forth. But what attracted you to the water industry?
Well, you may have heard this story before, but it's a great story, and I love repeating it. It's my first look at water systems goes way back to when I was a Cub Scout at Troop 25 at Lincoln Elementary School.
There you go.
In New Britain, growing up, and my mom was the den mother, right, for our little troop, probably a group of kids no more than 10 or 11, and she took us to the New Britain water treatment plant.
Yes.
Right, and I got to meet with operators that day as a young man, young little lad. And I got to see coagulation basins and flocculation basins and sedimentation, right, and filtration and chlorine injection things, and my eyes were bigger than one could imagine just looking at all that stuff.
Sure.
I remember being that age and just seeing all that stuff and thinking, wow, this is great. I really want to, get involved with something big like this. And so, I did pretty well in high school and with science and math and, pre-calculus and trigonometry and algebra and physics and chemistry. And I went on and I graduated from the University of Connecticut with a civil engineering degree. So I was involved with, biology and chemistry and physics and lots of math. For a while there, I was a math major. I wasn't even an engineering major. I was a math major.
Mm-hmm.
And then I became a physics major. And then finally I turned it around and said, you know what, I ought to stick the things together and become a civil engineer. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
And right out of college, I went and to the job library up at UConn, and I found this position available for the state health department, who I work for now, and within the drinking water section.
Yep.
So I got a job there, and I've been there ever since. So 29 years now. Just a few days ago became my 29th year, and I've progressed, through the different positions within the drinking water section, and here I am now, this many years later.
Sure.
Working with great people. Great people.
Well, congratulations on your 29 years. Fantastic. Yeah. It's
good time.
Going back to the operators again, Bill, maybe you can describe to our young listeners, hopefully, that, what are the duties and responsibilities of the various operators?
Sure. Being involved with operator certification, we're certainly aware of the competencies, the things that they daily work at, and it's important work. It's everything from collecting samples, right, supplying those onto the laboratory, or even doing field analysis for things like chlorine residual or pH levels, right? Okay, and understanding what those test results mean.
Yes.
It may be simply collecting meter readings and understanding the flow of water, right? And the volume of water used, and the volume of water supply. Right?
Yeah.
And it may be things like conducting routine inspections of plant facilities.
Sure.
Right? It may be understanding, the specifications of the system itself, having a detailed understanding of the pump or the pump controls, right? Or the chemical feed pump, right?
Sure.
Or the plans and specifications for the pipes that are buried underneath the ground, right?
Yeah.
And knowing where they go and who they supply water to.
Sure.
Right?
And the fact that whether it's a groundwater supply or a surface water supply.
Right. There are different sources of supply, and there's different qualities of water coming from each, right? And as you come to work each day, it's important work to understand as you come into work and looking at all the data coming in. Some of these operators sit at computers, right, and assess data as it comes in through source control and data acquisition systems, SCADA systems, right, and make decisions about the flow of water, right, turning pumps on and off, right, our daily responsibilities associated with operators, right. So if you're going to break things down, it's one, having that knowledge of the system components, but it's also operating the system based on that knowledge.
Sure.
Establish plans and schedules, right, that they're involved with, complying with the regulations of Connecticut state agencies, right. Very important as to information as to how you report information into the state health department as relative to the information that you supply to the public, right. At certain times, you may actually have to notify the public of emergencies, right, or if a water system falls out of compliance, right, you have to let the public know so they can make the appropriate decisions relative to drinking that water.
Yeah.
Right? And the last thing is verifying compliance and submission of reports. If I would put things in buckets, it would fall into those three things. The last thing is, compliance and submission of reports that establish that your system's compliance with laws and regulations. So very important as we all try to work toward complying with the Safe Drinking Water Act.
Yep.
Right.
Which are state statute. Yep.
Exists at the federal level, but then is rewritten into the regulations of Connecticut state agencies, and an operator would have that knowledge. A good operator would have that knowledge. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Well, and it too is you're protecting public health, and is that you can also touch on your other hat, so to speak, in your involvement with the cross connection programs that each water utility is required to have.
Yeah. So, I serve on a couple different committees, and they're known as stakeholder groups. Okay, and so the state, my office, involvement with utility committees is important because it helps drive the ship, right? We have routine meetings with the Connecticut Section AWWA Cross Connection Control Committee, as well as their Operator Certification Committee, as well as the New England Waterworks Association Operator Certification, as well as their Board of Backflow Prevention Cross Connection Control. So these committees help drive the ship, help direct us into how we administer the operator certification program.
Yep.
Right? We collect opinions from the certified operators that participate and are members of these committees for years. I've been on these committees going back to 2002.
Yep.
Right? And so, our participation with them, helps us when we look at policies and regulation changes, right?
Yeah.
And so very important to sit at the desk with the folks that we regulate.
Sure.
That we certify, right? So we understand the impacts upon the work that they conduct every day. So,
yeah. And one of your other hats, you also sit on the Associated Boards of Certifications, okay, which is one of the regulatory boards that drafts the the requirements for certification and where the industry is going.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. It was my pleasure, and continues to be my pleasure to have served as a board member with the Association of Board Certification. This is an international association of certification authorities,
Yep.
right, that develops validated examinations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And which is not an easy thing. So if you're going to go out there and develop an exam, right, that validates the competency of an individual to perform work, right? It's not an easy thing to do. And it was my pleasure to have served on that board for 4 years, and now they refer to me as leadership, with the Association Board Certification, which, interesting enough, is no longer the Association of Board Certification any longer. It's now the Water Professionals International.
See?
It is a 50-year-old institution, right? International Association of Certification Authorities that is just renamed to Water Professionals International. And again, they develop these certification exams
Sure.
for water and wastewater professionals, okay? And they set standards.
Yep.
I think you mentioned that before, that they set standards for certification authorities, right? Actually help drive what we do as well. So it's another entity out there with thousands of water operators represented, right, in the development of exams. So
Sure.
very important that we make use of those exams now.
Absolutely.
The state of Connecticut makes use of WPI
Yep.
examination, right, for the certification of operators here in the state of Connecticut.
Well, and your involvement on the committee was instrumental in you helping me and along with Vicky Carrier in drafting or crafting our curriculum for the Water and People class. As far as what the target would be and so forth, and that experience that you being on that committee was invaluable for us. And I feel very, very privileged to your involvement. As the health department as a whole has been just so supportive of the program, and I can't thank you enough on all of your involvement and your.
All the thanks goes right back to you. Talking about favorite memories, I would say that administering the exams and giving some of the kickoff speeches to those
Sure.
courses given down there at Portland High School.
Yep.
Probably one of my favorite professional memories is doing that very thing and meeting those young persons as they strive to go into the water industry.
Sure.
Which was a national example.
Yes, it was.
Before Portland High School and that Water People program that you'd helped develop.
Yep.
I don't think there was another example across the U.S. where high school students were allowed to sit for a certification exam right before graduation, right?
Yep.
And some of them passed the exam and became certified operators. So that was one of my favorite memories over the years. So.
Well, and I think the work that you guys did with the health department to make allowances for that to happen. I think and one of the other allowances are accommodated in the hard work that we put into that, and this gets into the avenues that people can get, or students can get into. Was we were able to develop a memorandum of understanding with the Gateway program. If you passed our Water and People class and became certified as a water operator or and so forth, it gave you advanced credit to their Environmental 101 class. So that was a huge benefit. And that again, working with you and Professor Wes Winterbottom from Gateway and so forth was tremendous accomplishments.
Yeah, a lot of good folks were in on that. Sebastian Agostino,
yes,
the teacher down there, yourself. You mentioned before Vicky Carrier, who's just a wonderful asset to the state health department, and her involvement with teaching at Gateway Community College. Just lots of good folks. Lots of feet on the ground to make that thing happen. So, and again, I became a national example of how you become certified as a water operator. And I don't know if we got into this too much, but there are 4 different certification levels of treatment plant operator.
Yep.
Right. Each certification level has its own competency, right? And so those competencies align with the different complexities of treatment plants. So if you're a Class 4 treatment plant, right, if you own or operate a Class 4 treatment plant, well, you have to have Class 4 treatment plant operators, the highest competency for treatment plant certification, right, versus a Class 1, right, which may be a very small system, a single well, a couple of wells combined together, right, which may only have one or two treatment unit processes,
right,
pH adjustment, chlorine injection for disinfection, right, something simple like that. So, and that Class 1 treatment plant can be overseen by a Class 1 treatment plant operator. So the different certification types and levels align themselves with the different classifications of treatment plants, right? And so, too, is it with distribution systems, right? We have 3 class levels of distribution, Class 1, 2, and 3, and that's based largely on population size, right? It is based on population size. And so you must have an appropriately certified operator, Class 1, 2, or 3 distribution system operator, operate that distribution system. Okay?
Right.
And that's how the laws are overseen. So it's based upon your passage of a certification exam, and you qualify for that exam based upon minimum education and experience requirements, right? And so I started talking about my day job. Well, my day job is reviewing applications, essentially, right, that demonstrate to us whether that individual meets those qualifications, okay? So there are 4 class levels of treatment plant operator certification. There are 3 class levels of distribution system operator certification. But there's also a thing called operator in training. Class 1, 2, 3 for treatment, and Class 1, 2, 3, Class 1, 2, 3, 4 for treatment, and Class 1, 2, 3 for distribution. Operators in training are individuals who don't have the experience yet, but who have completed a certificate of achievement in water management from a Connecticut community college, like Gateway Community College or Goodwin College. Right?
Correct.
Those colleges right here in Connecticut have a credit program, right? Going through specific courses, right? I went through these courses.
Sure.
when I first got hired back in 1992.
You and me both.
And went through the certificate program. And you complete that program, right? Then you can sit for any one of the certification level exams at an OIT level. Right? And, you could walk in and apply for a job, right? And show and demonstrate, listen, I passed the certification exam.
Sure.
I demonstrated, competency with water system operations through completion of the certificate program. So that's an avenue into becoming certified operator, just like the Water and People program was, right? It was a different avenue, different way to demonstrate to sit for the small water system operator certification exam. So we have, in all, 22 different certification types and levels, right, to becoming certified as a water system operator.
Sure.
Okay. And I just thought I'd talk about that to hopefully develop some interest in the young listeners here today.
Yes.
That, there is an avenue for you to become certified. And if you have questions about that, you can send a simple email to dph.opcert@ct.gov. I'll say that one more time. It's dph.opcert@ct.gov.
There you go.
So that's our email address. Right? Or you can certainly call me at 860-936-1266. Again, it's Bill Sullivan. And if you have questions, we would be happy to answer them and hopefully develop with you interest in becoming certified as a water system operator.
Absolutely. Well, back when you and I started, I think the only program to go on was the Gateway program. Okay, and now since then, Goodwin has initiated a program, and also I think Southern has also initiated. Jim Flynn down at from Regional Water is spearheading a program down at Southern. So there's a lot more opportunities now than you and I had back in the day.
Yeah, utility operations and management. Listen, what a great career. And, it's a solid position. Most folks refer to it, and talk about it as a solid position, something with benefits, some with decent pay, right? But I like to look at it from the aspect of this is something you feel good about at the end of the day of what you've done.
Sure.
These individuals are responsible for providing a safe, high-quality source of water for drinking, right? To all the citizens of the state of Connecticut.
Sure.
Because you may be at your own home on your own well, right? But you do send your kids off to school.
Well, absolutely.
And that would be classified as a non-transient, non-community public water system, right?
Yep.
Or you yourself may go off to a job, right, on its own well water supply, right? Or you may go out to dinner every once in a while, right? Some restaurant somewhere on its own well water supply.
Sure.
And so, everybody, just about everybody, makes use of public water. And it's important that the people, right, who perform operation and maintenance on these systems, right, be certified. There's a necessity for certification, right? They minimize public health concerns. They maximize operation and performance of treatment plants and distribution systems. They ensure safety. They improve compliance, right?
Yeah.
These are many of the tangible things that certified operators bring to the plate, if you will, right, for the operation of our public water system.
Sure. And these careers too are something that obviously in the day of automation and so forth, these careers are something that you can't outsource. You have to have boots on the ground, to run these plants. Because you've got basically a distribution system out there that needs maintenance. You're going to have leaks. You're going to have this, and it's not something that you can outsource to some offshore entity as far as that goes. So they're very secure positions, and they're like you say, well paid, and it's definitely a career that is would be phenomenal for kids coming out of high school, getting into college, and so forth. And a lot of the careers, as far as in relation to careers, you don't need a college degree to get started in it too. So that's the other opportunity.
Yeah, you know what? The minimum education qualification right now is a high school diploma.
Sure.
Right? High school level of education. Okay. And and again, back to avenues. Some individuals get a job, intern or entry level position as an operator, uncertified. Right?
Yep.
But they gain experience over time, right? And as they gain experience over time, right, and the knowledge, right, they then can sit for the certification exam sometime later.
Sure.
Right? That's one avenue that I spoke about.
Yeah.
But I also spoke about before the operator and training avenue through the Certificate of Achievement of Water Management. There was the Water and People program that was developed to allow high school students to sit for the certification exam after completing, I think it was a 72-hour
contact
program
hours. Yep.
In high school.
Yep.
Right. Where you were learning from water professionals, water operators would come in and speak, as well as
taking tours,
teachers and tours, as great opportunities. So that's another avenue. And so, there's different ways to get there. There are allowances for individuals who don't have all the experience yet.
Yep.
Right? Do have some experience in water system operations, but who have college level education in the sciences to use as a substitute for the other experience requirements.
Sure.
Such as an example, if you wanted to sit for the Class 3 treatment plant certification exam, right, and you had 1 year's worth of full-time treatment plant Class 3 experience, but had an engineering degree or a science degree, right,
sure,
you could use those science courses, in college to substitute for the other 2 years' worth of experience to add up to a total of 3, to become certified, to sit for that exam, pass the exam, and become certified. So there's different avenues and different allowances, and that's why I mentioned my phone number and my email address. Should you have questions, we got answers. We'd love to help you out.
There you go.
Myself and my staff,
Fantastic.
And, that leads me to, what is a good operator? What makes me think of this individual versus that individual as a good operator, right? And the listeners today should know that a good operator, and you Dave, you're one of them. But my thought is a person with an inquisitive or an investigative mindset.
There you go.
Somebody who wants to know, who's good at math and good at science.
There you go.
It's just somebody that whose attention to detail, dot your I, cross your T kind
Sure.
of personality. You tell me what you think a good operator would be.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And in students getting into the career industry and the job market that are working for a utility, in like I say, I had Maureen Resnick on from the president of the Connecticut Water Company. Most water utilities, will pay to have your further your education. So if you you come in to start in the workforce as uncertified, they will pay for your certification as you work and gain experience. So that's a huge benefit also, to go from there. But these again, we're all getting older, Bill, as far as that goes. Great. So hey, before we wrap up, tell me what you do for fun. What do you do for hobbies?
Well, recently my wife and I started swimming.
Nice.
At the local high school. So I was always a big swimmer back in my younger days, and we just picked that up. And we have a dog that needs to be walked every day. So I get out there and do a lot of walking. Those are things we like to do. We also like to travel a bit now that our kids are older and in college. We have a little bit more time on our hands. We're not driving them to soccer games or lacrosse games, so we have a little time on it. We like to travel a little bit. That's a lot of fun. So those are just some of the things that I like to do, and a lot of good memories from that.
Oh, fantastic.
If I can comment on favorite memories a little bit more, it's important. We talked about participating in the Water People course, but also one of my favorite memories was being involved with issuing the merit awards from the Connecticut Department of Public Health.
Oh yeah,
there are a great number of operators.
Sure.
That we've issued these awards to.
Yeah.
And for recognition of their work as a water operator, and good folks like Harvey Wall. I think he was our first award winner many years ago. Right on down through, all of the certified operators down at Groton Utilities.
Sure.
Right? We granted an award to them in bulk, right?
Yeah.
Because of their efforts relative to bringing a new treatment plant online.
Sure.
Folks like Don Fisco and Victor Nigro.
Oh yeah.
Don Black.
Oh yeah.
Deb Roulette. Ray
Burrell,
yes.
God.
Chris Caspara.
Yeah.
Judy Campana, just great folks. So we, one of my greatest memories professionally was being there to grant them that award, that Certified Operator Public Health Merit Award.
Yes.
But also to educators.
Yeah.
Scott Burnett and John Pacino.
Oh yeah.
Bruce Morton, Wes Winterbottom.
Yes.
Seb Augustino and yourself, Dave Kuzminski, you, sir, received that Education Merit Award.
I was lucky enough to be included in that bunch, and I really appreciate it. So
good. So talking about good memories, a lot of good efforts by water operators and the educators behind them, and it's important that we recognize that, and we're going to continue to do that.
Absolutely.
Great memory there.
Yeah, we got to refill this pipeline, so to speak, literally. With this knowledge base. So anyway,
we just need young individuals with an inquisitive mindset, right? Investigative mindset, someone decent skills, decent knowledge in math and science.
Sure.
Who's willing to take on this responsibility, and you feel good at the end of the day of what the good work that you're doing. For your state citizens.
Absolutely.
Right, state of Connecticut. Yep.
Well, that's the whole premise of me launching this podcast, is to make students aware, that are in high school, in college, or even people that are anticipating or considering a career change. These are definitely opportunities that we need to fill these things. So, Anyway, hey, Bill, thank you so much for coming on. Again, our guest for our episode 3 is sanitary engineer supervisor from the State Health Department, head of operator certification, Mr. Bill Sullivan. So, Bill, thank you again and for participating, and we will be keeping this ball rolling and pushing it ahead, and we can see if we can refill this the pipeline with some certified operators for you. So, on behalf of all of us here and the careers you didn't know about, I'm your host, Dave Kuzminski, and so stay tuned for more interesting guests that are involved and the people that run the industry from not only the water but also the wastewater side. So, Bill, thanks again. I appreciate it.
Hey, take care, Dave. You be well. See you, man.